Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the books that I recently read the last couple of months. I don't have a lot of these, so to make it easy, I'm just going to put a picture right here of all of the books that I'm going to talk about. Most of these I read for my book club, so some of them were kind of out of my comfort zone, but I thought I'd give it a shot and discuss it with the book club members, and so we enjoyed a lot of these. I'm just going to go in random order because I don't really remember the order that I read them in. One of them that I read was The Night Circus, and this was a book that I recommended because we kind of take turns recommending books, and this is one that I've been wanting to get to for a really long time. I see I get a lot of rave reviews here on BookTube, and that always makes me nervous because I wonder if, it's going to be one of those hyped books that just doesn't work for me. This one wasn't. This one deserved all the praise that it got. It's about a magical circus, and there's two main characters in this story, a man and a woman who both are magicians, and they use the circus to kind of compete with each other. And that's kind of the most vague synopsis I can give without giving too much away. It's definitely a book that when I went into it, I knew absolutely nothing about it, and that's kind of how I recommend other people read it. It'll surprise you in a good way, and I absolutely loved it. Another book that I read was The Orchardist, and this was, I believe, the debut novel for this author, and it's about an older man who has pretty much taken care of this orchard for most of his life. It's huge, and it has all kinds of trees and plants and gardens and all this stuff, and he seems to be a very lonely man who sticks to his business and his orchard and doesn't really interact with a lot of people. He has maybe one or two good friends, and one day two young girls stumble into his orchard who are pregnant. They're both pregnant, and they have kind of their own story, and the book is pretty much about what happens when they come together. This book I gave 3 stars because I was really wrapped up in the characters and the story. I really appreciated how the characters came together, how they all had a reason for being there. But one of the girls that shows up at this orchard, she goes on this journey of her own that I just did not really care for. I thought the book could have gone in so many other different directions, and it didn't, and so that was kind of disappointing. I guess I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't really say I recommend it. I think this type of book is for someone who's really into historical nonfiction and lots of prose and strange characters that don't say much. If you're into that kind of story, then you'll enjoy The Orchardist. But I definitely think that I'll give the next book by this author, if she writes another book, I think I'll give it a shot. Another book that we read was Brain on Fire, and this was a memoir about a young woman who starts acting very erratically out of nowhere. A lot of weird things happen to her. She's in the hospital a lot, and the doctors cannot find what's wrong with her. And by some miracle, really, one doctor kind of takes her case and tries something different, and it ends up saving her life. So this is her memoir. I thought it was really well written. It was very entertaining, and it's kind of the perfect book club book because it was a lot of fun to talk about all of the different things that happened to her, and what we would do in that situation, and how we would cope. I think they're going to be doing a movie about this book, so I'm really excited to see how they adapt that crazy case on screen. So yeah, definitely if you're into memoirs, that's a good one. It's very easy to read, and it's an interesting subject matter, so I do recommend it if you like memoirs. Another memoir that I read was A Magnolia Story by Joanna Gaines. I'm a huge fan of the Fixer Upper show, and I love watching the show and seeing what Joanna and Chip kind of do together. So this is kind of the book about their story, how they grew their business, how they stumbled on this Fixer Upper TV show, and kind of what they, their love story, how they met, all of that. So if you're a fan of the show, like I am, then you'll really enjoy it. They do talk a lot about their religious beliefs on here and there. It's not like, you're not being preached to, but it's definitely a part of their lives, and they do talk about it. So if that bothers you, then don't read it. But to me, even though I'm not religious, I don't really mind reading about those things as long as it's not the whole story. And it's definitely not in this case. Their business spans many, many years. They went through a lot of hardships to get to where they are, and I kind of really respect the fact that they've managed to build something, when I guess a lot of other people wouldn't have taken as many risks as they did. So I did enjoy that. So those are the books that I read these past few months. I thought I would just come on here and do a quick wrap up rather than trying to talk about each book. I'm sorry if some of the descriptions were vague. It's because it's been months since I've read some of these and they're not as clear in my mind. But I did want to just at least have them here on the channel so that I kind of keep a record of what I've been reading. So if you've read any of those and you want to talk about them in the comments with me, I'll try to remember and discuss them with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.